Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. We have a fantastic panel today. We have a stacked house. We got six people joining us today. We got myself, the Italiano Slimer. We got Sean Rankin the Mouse, Theme Park Wizard, and Mr. Webba. Sean, it's been a while since you've been on the show, brother. So I'll start with you. How you been?
Let's go, man. I'm feeling amazing. I'm super excited to be back. OG55, the place to be. So I'm excited for our discussion. I'm excited for this awesome panel. I'm excited for the incredible chest hairs of George the Italiano. It's going to be an amazing show, man.
Absolutely. Sean, if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Yeah, Ranking the Mouse on everything. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Those are the big three. So you guys can follow me there. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm mostly on Twitter, so that's the big one there.
Exactly. Every time I hear the big three, I think of that Kendrick situation. You know what I'm saying? The big three. Mr. Italiano. Well, actually, you know what? We'll skip George and I, actually, because we got a big panel. So everyone knows at home where they could find us on social media. But your chest hair looks fantastic.
Thank you very much. But I will say that with the six of us, we have the combination of a 6-pack of beer. So,
Pretty much. Yeah. Exactly. Mr. Theme Park Wizard, always a good time having you on, brother. If you could let everybody at home know where they could find you on social media.
Me. You can find the Wiz on social media, Theme Park Wizard on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and much more on TikTok too. We're almost at 12,000 followers. Follow me on TikTok, but on YouTube as well. And for all that juicy news from the Wizard Vine.
Ooh. Yeah. That was good. All that juicy news from the Wizard Vine. I like that. That was fantastic. Fantastic. Slimer, welcome back, sir. You're looking really good, looking handsome as usual. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and thanks for having me back on. I've sorry been gone so long. I've been too busy sliming my house. We got a new home. There's been a lot of moving. We've had hurricanes. What hasn't been going down here in Florida? You know what I mean? Just another day in Florida. So I've been busy being Florida man, but I'm back now. I'm ready to talk Disneyland. Let's talk about these controversial murals.
we and discuss.
Yeah. See, people seem to be more upset about that than the price spikes over at Disneyland. But Disney fans as usual. They got the memories of goldfish. But anyways, you guys can find me on X at Slime Square 84 and right here on YouTube, Orange Grove 55.
You got it. And last but certainly not least, the one and only, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here on the channel, Mr. Michael Webba. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much for having me on. I can't wait to discuss these topics. This is gonna be very fun. I love controversial topics, especially when it's with like 6 people. You can find me, Mr. Webba, at Webslinger760 on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads.
Perfect. Yes, he does like controversial topics. We actually had a members only video. We were talking about feet fetishes. It was fantastic. Really good video. No joke. It's there. Check it out. Members only.
It's a great one. Yeah, he really brought the big titty energy, that one.
Indeed. Or you could say that big Mick energy, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh
my gosh, look, Disneyland's falling in the ocean. It's doomed.
It's doomed. We need some red laser eyes. Okay, so Mickey, this is courtesy of MickeyVisit.com. Some Disneyland ticket prices have increased 114% in the past 10 years. New Disneyland study. So it says here, I'm going to kind of break this down. I don't want to put everyone to sleep there, but I'm just going to kind of set the table a little bit. Exactly, right? Exactly. It says here, during the last decade, from 2014 to 2024, the higher priced one park per day ticket increased in cost by $110, 114% increase. The lowest price option for one park per day ticket increased in cost by $8, an increase of 8%. It goes on to say here that the longest multi-day ticket offered at Disneyland, the 5-day park hopper, increased in cost by $311 in that same 10-year time span for 101% increase. Crazy increases all across the board, including the Magic Keys. I think even Lightning Lane went up. So it's kind of crazy. So since myself and George and Webba, we talked about this in a previous video. Slimer, I'll start with you, then I'll go to Wizard and Sean. What are your thoughts on this, Slimer?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a reflection that the entertainment industry as a whole is just getting more expensive to be a part of. This isn't just happening in the theme park industry. It's happening at concerts. So if you were a concert goer in 2014, you used to be able to see your favorite your favorite band for $25 to $80 in some cases. But now you're looking at astronomical prices for just about anything entertainment. It doesn't matter if it's a movie theater, theme parks, concerts, monster truck show, like you name it, the prices are through the roof. And this is all demand-based pricing. I mean, look at it. The lowest price ticket has only changed by $8. But the highest price ticket has changed by what, $114? So that tells me that entertainment is it's in more demand than ever. Whether it doesn't matter what the venue is, theme parks, concerts, whatever. But this is something that people are willing to spend a lot of money on. And these adjustments are also, and you brought up a really good point before the show, are also indicative of the fact that things are getting more expensive to operate at the parks, even though the demand is higher. And I'll let you touch on that. That was your point. So I'm going to wait for you to bring that up. But this is all demand based. Entertainment's getting more expensive. Surprise, surprise. It's been happening for the last, 20 years. But like now we're really paying attention to it though, because of social media and the way that it just makes it easier to identify these kinds of things.
Yeah, no, 100% Slimer. And yeah, the point I was making to the guys before the show was just recently, just a couple months ago, this past summer, Disney had a squabble with the union, right? And they raised wages pretty significantly. And that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? That's awesome. But with those increases, I mean, corporations are going to corporation, you know what I'm saying? So they're going to try to find ways to offset that loss for the company. And a way they do that is they pass it on to the consumer, right? So that's a big part of it. Another big part of it, I think, is just they are investing more. We're getting two Avengers attractions in DCA. We're getting a Coco boat ride. We're getting a massive Pandora thing, which is probably going to cost, close to $1 billion in and of itself. So there's a lot going on. That's not even including all the 70th stuff that we're likely going to get, so there's a lot going on. So I think there's a lot of moving pieces here, but I think that's kind of what's going on with these increases. But Sean, I kind of want to pick your brain on this. What do you think, brother?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you and Slimer said. I think definitely Disney has a lot in the Disneyland specifically has a lot in the fold coming soon, but most of that is a couple years down the road. So what gets me about this increase is Disney has kind of needed a PR win more than ever right now. So it's kind of crazy to see this announcement. Not that we saw a price increase, because October is usually when we get an increase every year. It's the fact that it's like 6% to all the way up to like 15, 20% on some of the lower Magic Keys. That's pretty insane to me, especially when you look at the fact that this has been the rate of increase for like the last 4 years. So if this keeps going, someone did the math on Twitter. If we keep getting like 6 to 10% increases over the next 5 years, tickets are going to be like $300+, which is absolutely insane. And I've always been a proponent that a Disney day, really any theme park day, but especially a Disney day, is extremely affordable given other things like Slimer brought up concerts, or if you bring up like fairs or sporting events, those are only like 3 to 4 hour events when you look at concerts and sporting events. Whereas a Disney day or a theme park day is 12 hours, 14 hours, whatever it may be. You're getting rides, entertainment, stuff like that. But it's just, I guess what gets me is the bigger picture of like, this seems unsustainable. 6 to 10% increases every 6 months, or even if it's just every 12 months, Disney's going to hit an insane wall at some point where they're just not going to get guests. And you could say, well, yeah, they're expecting, a slowdown in 2025, which they absolutely are. And I don't blame them for raising prices increases before that. But we've been seeing 5 to 10% increases now since before COVID. So it just kind of feels like at some point this has got to hit a wall. And I don't think we're there yet, which is pretty crazy to think, but it's got to get there soon. I think the blame really falls at shareholders and the fact that we're in this world now where you just have to have quarter over quarter growth. It doesn't matter what you did 5 years ago. If you had a $10 million increase, well, you still got to build on that the next quarter, even though the fact that you're doing way better than you were, whatever, 5 quarters ago. So yeah, shareholders are who I think is to blame here, but I don't know, man. It seems pretty insane. We've got to hit a wall at some point, right? Or am I just being crazy on that?
No, you do. You have to. I mean, there was a report. Our friend Hey Bricky did a video on it. It was really great about how people are going into debt to go to Disney. I mean, that's happening right now. what's going to happen with all these increases? It's going to get even worse, But has this changed anything for you, Sean, in terms of these numbers? Like, are you like, are you a magic key holder right now, or no? You don't have a key, or
we don't want to get into that right now, OG. I'm a little beefing with Disney still on that. No, I'm not a magic key holder for reasons that are too big to talk about right now. But we finally like agreed, my wife and I, to buy them again. We were like, okay, we're over the frustration from before. We're ready to buy them. And then Disney hits the price increase a week ago. And then on top of that, they're still not even for sale. So no, we're not. And I think that they reeled us back in, and I think they pushed us back out again with the frustration of not having them for sale and the insane prices.
Yeah, understood. That's understandable. Mr. Wizard, what are your thoughts on this, brother?
This is very interesting because I was watching the Fresh Break video on it, and yeah, prices every year go like John said, about 5 to 10%, and I think this year specifically, well, until the Paint the Night thing was announced, but before that, it seemed like there was like no entertainment, when they're raising the price, but then they're like taking things away. Luckily, Paint the Night's back, my baby, but. And there'll be how much is 70 and stuff. So, but yeah, it seems like, because there's still some 104 days. So they clearly are still trying to really push, they're trying to dictate what days people should go. They really don't want people to go on the weekends still, which is working. I go every Sunday. And it's a really pleasant experience. And it seems like what Disney's saying, like, hey, if you want to pay a lot more money, then you can get a pleasant experience. Or if you want to be stuck with the sheep on the 104 days and stand 3-hour lines, then you can do that too. But it's crazy because it's part of it. Because think about it, on a tier 6 day, like say Christmas or something, like on a Sunday, it'll be $281 for the park hopper because it's $75 for the thing. I was like, wow, that's a lot for one person. But I mean, you should hopefully it will guarantee a not so busy day. But still the thing that gets me, even with the magic keys, because the believe key, and you can see what Dave was saying, the 20% increase on the enchant one, but the top two went up a little bit, but not too much. They really want to try to get people to get those top 2 keys, it seems like. But, the reservations, it still gets me. I still hate them. In fact, I just had a problem with Mr. Sean here over the weekend. I wanted to go meet him on Sunday. And my key just the day would not open up. It wouldn't open up. I'm like, come on, man. I will literally, and Dave mentioned his video. He's like, this
a
is
glass of wine, Wizard. A glass of wine. You want anything to open up, give him a glass of wine.
I should have, because my goodness, he mentioned, and he was right. There should be a key that has no reservations, but it's like $2,000 or something. I'd get it just because I just hate oops, and I got a no-show one day. I wish the Disney would make a new key that's insanely expensive but has no reservations. I would get it. Price increase to me, yeah, that was it was tough. But then I love Paint the Night so much, so I'm gonna renew my pass because it's my baby. So it worked. But I mean, the parks really, you saw pictures over the past few days. It's been really crowded. So until people like don't go, and I'll just keep on hitting the wall.
See, Wizard, Paint the Night, your baby. You were fooling around with the electrical parade too much.
well, and you make a great point, Wizard. I've been saying this a lot on the channel, right? Where it's like people need to start voting with their wallet, right? Like it's crazy. I mean, Sean, you kind of touched upon this a little bit with hitting the wall. It's like these prices keep going up, but the parks are not getting any less busy. Like people just take it, and it's like from a corporation standpoint, if you're Disney. And if someone's willing to pay 200 instead of 100, you're crazy not to take it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like until people stop giving the money, until they start pulling back, Disney's going to continue to do this because why not? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, look, the reality is that Disneyland, which isn't even a vacation destination, is almost pulling Magic Kingdom numbers in annual attendance. Like, how would they not increase the prices? I mean, and this is like, and they don't have a resort to offer. I mean, they have a couple of resort hotels, but we're not talking about a Walt Disney World resort vacation destination with Universal Studios Orlando Resort right down the road, and then the East Coast of Florida and the West Coast of Florida and everything else that Florida has to offer as far as like a vacation destination. But they're still pulling like these kinds of numbers. What option does Disney have? I mean, like, look, I'm not happy about the prices because like I went. Look, all right. So I went to Disneyland. What, 2 months ago now? I think I
Yeah.
paid $200 for a 3-day park hopper ticket. So now my 3-day park hopper ticket's going to be what, $500? I know the 2-day park hopper is going to go up to 4 and some change. That's double what I paid just 2 months ago. Of course, I'm not going. Yeah, like of course I'm not going to be enthusiastic to spend another not $400 to do what I did last year. Next year for double the price. For what, an additional 1 attraction and then 1 entertainment show. So for somebody like me that's going to be coming from Florida, that really doesn't incentivize me to make a decision to go back to Disneyland. And it's really making me want to stay local as opposed to go over there, because the prices over here haven't reflected any sort of a major increase, at least for this year. Of course, it's going to go up in 2025 with all the new attractions coming.
Well, I had mentioned on the previous video that we did with Webba that a lot of times too, looking through the optic lens of a park goer, it's like when I saw that price increase, I knew that we were eventually going to hit that threshold at some point. But in my mind, I was thinking 2 to 3 years down the road. So when I ended up seeing that amount, like right now,
you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. So it was like, wow, like that was like very surprising. But then when you take into consideration of everything of what OG was saying about with the unions and upping the amount for cast members, for the investments that they're doing in the parks, for the unfortunate outcome of still coming off of 2020, and it's not even just 2020, it's 2020 and on. They still took a hit in 2021, partially in 2022. So technically, if you go from that standpoint, from the year 2022, it's only been 2 years later, and Disneyland took, I think, a much bigger hit than Walt Disney World goes.
Oh yeah,
of the amount of time that it's been closed, 412 days. That's a lot. Walt Disney World, I believe, lost $547 million just from these past 2 hurricanes, just by closing 1 or 2 days between, both hurricanes. So it's a higher price tag of like what Disney had lost between the events of 2020, again, raising the amounts for the cast members with the unions and everything. So I get the price tag point of what the tickets and the Magic Key is right now, in the sense of that I was expecting it down the road, not like right this very second. But I think for us as park goers, we want to see some returns that kind of offset that price. So if they raise the price and we had Paint the Night tomorrow, and we had the Walt animatronic tomorrow, and we have 70th anniversary stuff tomorrow, then we can say, you know what, we're starting to see, even though tomorrow promised us, okay, it's still just a promise. At the end of the day, we're still not seeing nothing as of right now.
Or George, how about this? Obviously the new turnstiles, that was pretty cool. But how about we get some updated security procedures, right? You have all this money now, and you can hire the same people and just install the updated security scanners that every other park, even the Disney World ones, have.
Disneyland definitely needs an updated security. Whether they use what Walt Disney World has, or if they can't because of the city of Anaheim, I'm not sure about that. But at least maybe get like what Universal has and just have like something. Yeah,
because that's what I mean. That would be another easy way to show that, okay, you're making all this money. Or if they announced, even if they did nothing, but they announced, cast member wages increased again that year or something like, okay, my money I'm paying is going towards this, like, obviously your profit, but also, oh, look, this cast member wage or security or something,
Now, Wizard and Sean, I want to ask you both, Slimer, even you, because I don't know if I asked you this, Webba I might have, but with these price hikes and everything, do you guys have in your mind eventually down the road, because Sean, you were mentioning 6 to 10%, if this happens and occurs every year, what does that look like? Do you guys have a number in your mind? And Sean, I know that you're not really happy with Disney right now as far as like with the Magic Keys go, but down the road, do you have a price tag in your mind that it's like, okay, that's my cutoff, I can't go any further than that?
Fucking right now, dude.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. That's what you were saying, Eva, right? Like in that last video, you were saying you're done. You're not going to renew, right?
You know,
No, it's too expensive. Like, unless I get like an $80K like raise or something, I'm not going to. It's too expensive, man. Like I'm sorry, and I don't think I'm going to utilize the pass that much for the value to be worth it. Because here's the thing: the higher the price goes for the keys, the more times you have to go to justify that key.
Right.
And here's the thing, I live like about an hour away. I was telling George, I think as the prices get higher, I think the keys honestly might be better for people who are like George, who come like for a week at a time to use multiple days, or for the locals in Anaheim who are only about 20 minutes away because they can go multiple times a week. Or someone like me who's like an hour, or like a Slimer who's like in like about hour and a half to 2 hours. I don't really think that drive is really justified in my opinion.
Interesting.
yeah. So for me, for me, let's see, it's interesting because I make YouTube videos on it, so I feel like I almost not have to, but I have more of an incentive to go over there. But also, unlike Sean, I think Sean's the only one in this group who has a child. Children are expensive, so I feel like when I get a child, so I feel like when I get a child, oh, look at the little baby.
There is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
There he is.
I gotta do a shout out for
Gerber,
Sean.
baby. Goodness.
What a cutie.
So
And
cute.
we were hanging out at City Walk, so I feel like when I get a child, I feel like then my money would have to go elsewhere. So I'd have to at least downgrade a key, but then that sucks because I can really only go on the weekends because where OG's is in the valley, so I'm not like 20 minutes away, and I can't really go after work. And then there's only 2 keys that really go on the weekend, so I'm like, oh, what do I do next? I think I'll probably just go back to the SoCal resident ticket thing. I used to do that for a while and just use the 3 days and wait till the next one because that's like a decent deal. But yeah, $2,000 will be too much for me for sure.
It's a lot. It's a lot, Sean. So you mentioned that you and your wife were thinking about doing it, and then the price hikes kind of pushed you out of it. So I'm assuming you're kind of already at that point. Like you've already the threshold is there for you right now, right?
Yeah. In terms of magic keys, for sure. In terms of like making multiple trips, I don't think that there is.
Cutie.
Wow, my baby's not super happy about this price increase.
He's like, no way. He's like, I want to go back to Toontown.
I don't think that there is a limit for me in terms of. Sorry, one sec. My wife's gonna take care of him. I'm gonna move rooms here. I don't think that there is a limit for me in terms of going to Disney. I think I will always. But I think what it does for me is it starts to create a need for alternate ways to attend Disney. And what I mean by that is, okay, I'm not buying a magic key, so it's going to be after hours events so that I feel like I'm getting something special, or it's going to be more utilizing discounts, or it's going to be more, I'm a travel agent and a DVC member, so it's going to be more like, hey, anytime there's like a crazy deal on TA tickets or DVC tickets or something like that, utilizing those. So there is no really breaking point for me with Disneyland because of how much it means to my family and I. My wife and I met there. I have a baby, obviously, so kids are obsessed with Disney, and it's just one of our favorite places to be. But it's absolutely creating less trips for us and getting more creative in how we get tickets. I'm absolutely already at my point in terms of like, we used to all the time just like buy 5-day tickets, and just take a whole week trip with 5 days there. Whereas now it's like, okay, we're going to go a couple days and we're going to get one after hours event ticket, and we're going to use a TA discount, or we're going to see if like any of our CM friends want to sign us in, or we're going to see if there's like a super huge, like, discount, like the SoCal 3 day, something like that. So in that regard, I feel like we've already hit our limit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's getting pricey. It's really, really pricey. It's crazy too how the magic keys, because I know we have a lot of locals here, so Disney's trying to mitigate that magic key population quite a bit, right? But the price differences between what we have out here in California and what you guys have out there in Florida,
it's insane.
It's crazy. But
I guess I don't have too much of a problem with the pricing for me, because all I have to do is just show some chest hair. That pretty much pays for it all.
It wins them over every time, George. Every
But
single time.
It was something that was
the coast to coast pass, the premier.
I used to have that, the premier passport.
That was a cool one. They should
Yeah.
bring that back for you got like George and even Slimer can maybe take advantage.
Now, at the time when I purchased that premier passport, I think that was like $2,400. So I think that's crazy that a pass that covers both coasts for a year, $2,400, where just the highest magic key is what, almost $1,700.
Getting close. Yeah.
Real close. It's getting real close.
And George comes for a week at a time, so he's definitely getting his money worth.
Oh yeah.
Well,
he comes for a week at a time every other week.
well, that's what I was saying too. Why the magic key is more worth it for people like George now, even though he travels, because he goes for blocks at a time. Me, I would only probably go twice a month. I think at that price point, it wouldn't justify it. So, and I also want to ask you guys too about the Disney addiction, right? Because with the attendance levels of Disneyland, and even though with the prices going up and up, and it's so crowded still, obviously, George, you have like the Disney lifestyle, right? But then you have people who are just like, it's a Disney addiction. They need to go. And it's like your addiction fuels of the stuff that you constantly buy, right? So I think that's a small factor in it too, for these Disney parks, because it doesn't matter how expensive it gets, they'll always find the money to have to spend on their Disney addiction, basically.
Well, and that's a
right,
crazy thing.
Evil Iger is gonna suck the money out of you.
Yeah, exactly, with those red laser eyes. You know what I'm saying? No, but absolutely no. And that's the thing. Like, I'm a big Disney guy. I make no bones about it. I mean, I have a whole YouTube channel dedicated to this stuff. I love that. I love Disney. But I mean, there's a limit for me too. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think I would opt for kind of like what Sean's doing, right? Where he's not completely abandoning going, but maybe just go a lot less instead of going once a month or whatever. Maybe just buy, tickets for 3 or 4 days and stay at the hotel like once a year or something like that. I would just kind of get creative with it, but there comes a point
I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd be going through some withdrawals.
Would you? So you're
once a year. Like, I would not be that wouldn't work for me.
Wow.
I'm kind of there with you, George. I've done the whole once a year thing, and you kind of miss out on a lot of new additions in a whole 12-month cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But I could definitely see myself whittling it down to maybe like 3 times a year, 2 to 3 times a year, giving myself enough of a break to where, you kind of let it wear off a little bit. So then when the next time you come, it's kind of like you're like, you see the Epcot ball, and you're just like, oh, and it's just this great feeling every time you walk through the gates. It's when it starts to become stale that you're just like,
if I had a nickel for every time a woman said that to me.
you'd have 1 nickel.
There it is.
You'd have no nickels.
I love it. All right, guys. Should we pivot? We have some Tiana news, which is pretty exciting, actually.
Boy!
Here we go.
Six Flags is here.
Hey, look, Wizard. That's why I'm not on Twitter that much anymore. I bypassed all of those takes. I don't know. I can't believe people were saying that. That's wild to me, bro.
Six Flags. It's funny because that it doesn't look too much different than before. So did Critter Country look like Six Flags too? I don't get.
It's funny.
This is what Six Flags looks like. Like, wow.
I don't understand. I don't get that. I don't get that comparison, because you can kind of do that with any element. Okay, in premium theme parks like Disney and Universal, these are the premium companies, right, that do this stuff. I can pick stuff from each of these brands and say, well, that's a regional park thing, or a Six Flags, teacups.
Exactly. Even that. But how about Simpsons Land, right? I mean, is that Six Flags, or is that like better than this? I don't know whether that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That's why I stepped away from Twitter, and I mostly just DM you guys and just bounce, because the timeline gets crazy out there. It's the wild, wild west. It absolutely is. But this is the one and only Fresh Baked, of course. Fresh Baked. Dave from Fresh Baked. He made, and Wizard, I want to thank you for bringing his video to my attention, because he does a great breakdown of the area. So what we're going to do is we're going to play this video. We'll, if any of you have any comments along the way, just say, hey, OG, pause it, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, here we go. Let me put the captions on. And here we go. Dave from Fresh Bake.
Out a construction report talking about the updates that are happening out here in Bayou country, but the walls are down. And I'm sorry, normally I don't do something like this where I just do an impromptu video, but I can't help myself. I have to cover this right now and get this to you right now. As we enter Bayou country, you can see the briar patch.
Oh, wait, let's stop right here. Sorry.
Got you.
Everything else.
I got you.
Okay, I don't particularly remember what it looks like over there, but it looks like people kept saying they took away so many trees, but it looks like they added one or didn't really. It looks like it replaced it. It didn't look like there's less, maybe less mature trees, but it didn't look like there's so few less trees that it just totally was unshaded. Was there a lot of trees here before, or am I tripping?
No, I think you're correct, Wizard. I think they just replaced what trees were there with different trees. Like, I think before they were these big pine trees, right? And now there are these other kind of trees. I'm not a, I don't know my plants like that.
That was, I said they took the trees away, and all of a sudden it somehow looks cheap, and I don't understand how that makes it look cheap. But I had to know, because I'm like, I don't think they did, or at least they replaced the one. It was weird.
Yeah, no, I don't think it looks cheap at all. I mean, it's not even open yet. I mean, I don't know how.
There's a wall.
What I think they added was the magnolias here, because magnolias are very common in the southeast. I had one in my yard at my old house. I got one back here, so that's probably the trees that you're talking about.
That makes sense. I did see someone say something about magnolia, which cool.
Congrats. And actually, those trees, the magnolias, are actually the trees they use in the outdoor queue for pirates, which is also New Orleans.
Yes, and they just recently replaced those, and those look nice. So
yeah, absolutely.
The briar patch, raised berets, is still behind construction walls, but everything else is down, going all the way into the rest of Bayou country, and we can see everything.
This there.
Yes. Right, Wizard. We were talking about this, how it organizes the line, right?
Yes. If you in Slimer, I don't know if you've been to. Was this the first time you went to Disneyland last year, or when you came this last time?
No, I've been before.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you remember, but the Splash Mountain area before is kind of a mess. Like, this was the Fast Pass area, and the wait time was kind of hidden way at the other end by Haunted Mansion, and then the Lightning Lane and Fast Pass kind of jumble over there. But now there's like an actual dedicated queue line, an organized queue line. There's not just a mishmash of people. So I think this is fantastic. The color of the fence, again, it looks fine to me. I know some others didn't like it, but it looks like a fence. I don't know, but I'm so glad. I'm just so glad that it's finally an organized space with a proper entrance sign. Unlike what we had before, people were wrapping around the mountain and it was hot and it wasn't good. So I think this is, at least in my opinion, a big improvement over what was it before.
Yeah, I think it looks nice. It like you said, Wizard, it organizes it now. It's not like just a total like it's not so chaotic, right? Mm-hmm. I like what they did with it, and it doesn't feel, in my opinion, it doesn't feel like, and we'll see more of it as Dave goes through, but it doesn't feel like an overlay. It feels purpose built, even though it technically is an overlay or a retheme. It feels like this is how it's kind of always been, which I like.
And it looks like it fits very nicely into Critter Country area, so it doesn't look like it's jarring or something. It's not like they did some Guardians of the Galaxy thing where they splattered a whole bunch of the building's totally different than Hollywood Land. This looks like it fits pretty decently and next to Pooh, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think? What do you think, Sean, in terms of just the way it looks compared to before? Then I'll go to you, Webba.
Yeah, the thing that really gets me the most, especially when talking about the discourse today, is the insane opinions that people come to based on a photo from a land that just had the walls down, that isn't even open yet in terms of the ride. I understand having an opinion or just voicing it or going in person and seeing it and being well, it's not open yet, but it really doesn't look great. But we've been seeing truly vitriolic takes, and I'm sure all of you guys can, see examples of exactly what I'm talking about, or any of the viewers too. But just insane takes of how crappy this is and trash, and when hardly anybody that's giving these takes has seen it in person. And even if you have, it's not open yet. Like, this isn't meant to be the finished product. And I guess my big worry from just the photos I've seen so far is the trees, but the land is still, the ride still doesn't open for another month. We have no idea what they might plant or how it looks in person. I left Sunday and I've only seen it with the walls down, so I missed it by a day. But yeah, it's just crazy, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it looks a little barren trees wise, but everything else besides that looks absolutely fantastic. But in person, it could not look like that at all. Or a month from now, it could not look like that at all, So, I think it looks pretty good overall. Not like perfect, but I haven't seen it in person yet. So,
Sean, did the people look like that?
I'm not sure about that one. No comment.
All right.
Well, and Sean, you make a great point too about the discourse and stuff, and people kind of piling on. I think a lot of that is less about the actual attraction and less about the actual product or whatever, and more about the culture war. I got to be completely honest. I think there's people that they made up their mind years ago they were going to hate this thing, and anything new that gets announced or shown for this thing, they're gonna pounce on and say hate it. Pretty much, and look, I'm with you, Sean. There's things about this that I absolutely love, but there's things that, hey, look, yeah, like I would agree with you. The trees, maybe you could have put a little more mature trees in there, this, that, and the other. It's not perfect, but nothing really is. But overall, I mean, I think it looks pretty good,
We could see the entire queue here. Look at what they've done here. You can hear the music. You guys hear all that great music? I love the wooden elements here that they've chosen to use instead of just basic metal railing. That's really cute.
Webba, I am so sorry, brother. What were your thoughts on the queue, brother?
No, I mean, so I just wanted to point out that Sean is absolutely correct. Before I get to the queue, I think that the people on the internet are way overly emotional about pretty much everything regarding Disney. And it's just annoying, and it just really put into perspective that, you know what, I'll just experience everything myself. I don't give a fuck what these other people are saying, because yes, you have your opinion, but there's so much emotional flaring on the internet that it just kind of turns me off. And I'm like, you know what, I'll just experience it for myself. Let me see what it's like, right? My only problem with the queue itself is the lack of trees in the center, because I'm wondering how fucking hot it's going to be in the summer. Like when you're standing out directly in the sunlight, that's going to really suck. But other than that, I think it looks fine.
I'll tell you how hot it's going to be. Come over here to Walt Disney World and I'll show you.
There we go. Exactly.
Yeah, Mr. Webb is spot on. It really goes to show the intense passion overall, which obviously as a product, you want that from your fan base, right? Even if it's angry, that means people care. You think of sports teams or movies, even like Joker 2, everyone hates it, but that means it's being talked about and people care. Same with sports teams, like everyone hates the Yankees or whatever, but people talk about them. So it's same with Disney. So in that way, it's good. But Webb is right in that the negativity that comes around the theme park community with Disney, it's just insane. Like nothing they can do is right. And that's a disservice to us fans, because that is going to make Disney just discredit everything we say. When we're absolutely losing our minds over things that aren't open yet or aren't really that big of a deal, why would they care about the bigger deal stuff? So as a fan that wants, my voice to be heard, or maybe not my particular voice, but like the general community voice, if I'm a Disney exec, I'm like, I don't care what they have to say. They're absolutely unhinged, batshit crazy on everything. So it's just not a great look for us as fans in general.
No, well said. Well said, Matt. Well said, Sean.
There's a look at your surface, which is consistent with what we're seeing in the rest of Critter Country. You will see that they brought that into the queue here. The planters that we've watched them put in, the new trees, that's a new tree, that's a new tree.
Dave's a Disneylander because he's amazed by the line queue.
You guys don't and knows where the trees are going.
And that's not a Florida thing, huh?
No, it is a Florida thing. We actually do have queues down here.
I see what you're saying. I mean, like a Disney person in general is what you're saying.
Yeah, like in Disneyland, you just kind of wait outside. You know what I mean? Like you just wait outside of the trash. We have some ropes. Maybe there's a character that shows you or a CM that shows you where the line starts. Maybe not, but over here we seem to be because we have the blessing of space. We actually have line queues, with rails that tell you where to go and all that. But
that's wild. That's wild. I miss Walt Disney World, man. I got to get back down there.
Me
Yeah,
too.
they got a garden. They're growing vegetables here. That's onions and Brussels sprouts and celery. And there's another one back there. Let's see.
Not the kind of hydroponics that California's
I
used to,
can't
you
tell
know.
what that is, but it looks leafy.
Exactly.
And I wonder what this is going to look like at night too, man. I won't be able to be here tonight
Sorry,
to
real
catch
quick, real
this.
quick.
I got you.
I just want to say, the nighttime like videos and pictures I've seen of Tiana's out at Disney World look amazing, dude. Like, if there's one thing like I really love that Disney does in the theme parks is nighttime lighting, dude. Oh, so fantastic! And I'm really looking forward to seeing what this looks like at nighttime. Like what Fresh Baked said, man, this is going to look amazing. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah,
I think they've done a really good job on the lighting packages for Tiana. Absolutely.
What kind of tree is that? We'll figure that out later. Let's keep going. That's adorable. I don't know what to call that. It's like a little gardening center here. They're tending the garden here. I love.
Also,
I'm
the
sorry, I just
music in
love
the
this. I think
background,
this
I
looks
just
terrific.
love how it's blasting.
Yes. You
Yeah.
can't beat that Princess and the Frog music. I love the area music, and it fits with the area. I mean, it works really well. It seems like this has kind of always been this way, you know? It's fantastic. And I was really worried about the poo area kind of clashing, but when he gets down there, you see it really doesn't. It really does kind of blend in.
Yeah, what's crazy is like that from this video, it looks like they really utilized that entire side very efficiently. And like what kind of actually I was watching you guys' video with the Hey Bricky about like the spacing, and again, Disneyland does a very good job on utilizing what space they have to the best way possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it fits in perfectly with the rest of the aesthetic here that is formerly Critter Country. But
See, people, you were saying Wizard. Now, like I said, I haven't really been on Twitter, so I haven't really seen a lot of this discourse regarding the Tiana stuff. But people were saying there's not a lot of trees. I see just as many trees.
Yeah, they said one person says they took away some trees and made it look like Six Flags, and then another person said,
What?
I think, and then another person said, since the paint, the fence was painted like a muddy yellow or muddy white. It looks like mud and unfinished.
Okay, I have a question. I have a question because I don't really go on Twitter that much either. I usually just do it to share breaking news from Disney or promote the show. So I don't really know, but I just have a very important question. How can you differentiate a Disney park to a Six Flags just by removing a tree?
I have no idea. You can't, because again, it goes back. I can give you the Simpsons. Land has no trees. I don't think in either park. So what does that mean? Is that Six Flags? That doesn't make no sense.
And Rip Ride Rocket, which is a roller coaster at Universal Studios, is a much worse roller coaster than just about every coaster in every Six Flags park. So what's your point?
Well, here's the thing too. If you could take Hulk, right? It's a green coaster, right? And they called it Hulk. But Six Flags will paint a coaster black and yellow and call it Batman, right? So you could take that element and go, oh, well, that's Six Flags. It's like, well, yeah, but Islands of Adventure, though, as a whole holistic thing, is a beautiful theme park. It's, right? It's one of the best theme parks. I mean, it is. It has, a lot of great stuff in that park. So it's like, yeah, all these premium brands are going to have elements that you can pull apart and go, yeah, that feels like a regional thing. But I mean, is it really? I don't know.
And likewise on Six Flags, at least for Magic Mountain, if you go towards the River Rapids area, there's very dense trees over there. It almost looks like Grizzly Peak. So, it's either way, but the rest of Six Flags doesn't look like that. And the rest is pretty open barren. So it can either way, there's certain parks do very well, and other parts, they're just kind of like, terrible.
Well, and Wizard, and here's the thing, we're in a land right here that the last part of the name is country.
Right.
So it's gonna have trees and bushes and stuff. So I don't know what people are expecting, really. I mean,
and again, like Sean said, it's not done yet, so who knows? Maybe they'll import and plant another tree somewhere. Who knows?
And you know what? Newsflash: trees grow.
Slimer, you just fucking blew my mind, bro. I'm gonna have to go smoke a J right now. That's crazy, dude.
But now Bayou.
And I don't even smoke, so that's all. Just
Wow, man.
looks just great. I don't feel like there's a separation. I don't feel it's like
See, like this white fence, this
Country.
wasn't here before, which is cool. That this would be the part where the fast and standby kind of jumble and mumble, but there's like a clear separation, stay in the line. Like that's much better, at least operations wise, even no matter how it looks. So it's really just help out the traffic flow in the area.
A taste of Walt Disney. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, I actually, Wizard, what I want to bring about the fence is that I mean, I haven't probably seen like a modern fence, I guess you say, but what I like is I like how the fence for the queue looks like the fence from like that era, you know, so they're keeping within like.
And I
the
also
theme
kind of
of the
look.
story.
It looks a little like it's like real, but like cartoony a little bit. So it's like not like too real, but it's like it's a nice little mix. Sure, maybe could it be wider? Okay, who knows? But it's just a fence, and-
Well, I'm wondering if they did that on purpose on some of these to kind of like age them up a little bit because
Yeah,
it's
they probably
outside.
did. Yeah, they probably did.
yeah,
But either way, you're just gonna be walking through it. So I mean,
right, exactly. I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about the fence. No,
oh, and before you start, I want to talk. Jim Scholl. Well, I guess. Well, he said something about the. He said, when he's to the front, it says like main entrance, which I do. That's kind of weird. But he said, "Where's the parking?" This was 1920 something. They didn't have parking in 1920 something. What are you talking about? It was the parking lot. It was weird. That's a weird tweet by Jim Scholl.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
yeah, I mean, I
Surprised by a weird tweet by Jim, Ethan. I mean, that's
But like, it was even a weirder tweet.
They didn't even have street lights in 1920.
that's crazy.
what gets me is the like 30 responses to the Jim Scholl tweets agreeing with it. That's just crazy to me. Like,
I know, right?
there's actually
By
people
the
that
way,
believe this stuff.
Yeah, where's the Tesla
stop,
charging
stop.
stations? What the fuck?
some of the foliage, we got some of the foliage over here from Walt Disney World, and that hurricane, yeah, it flew right in my backyard from Tiana and Disney World. So Jim was right about that.
They couldn't keep it. They couldn't keep it down. They couldn't keep it down.
Called Bayou Country. That's another conversation. But here it is. Walls are down out here in front of Tiana's entrance. Oh, wow. Okay, oh my God, it looks so good. That looks
I
so
do
good.
like this fence much better, but the murals, my goodness. Okay, I haven't seen the Disney World one in person, but I like these murals, in my opinion, better. At least the way they're placed, because they're not like as I feel like in your face or gigantic. It's kind of like subtle, But
yeah, it's more accents the attraction as opposed to being like the main thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I think they're better placed. And again, as I said to you, OG, earlier, like, my goodness, I saw multiple people comparing these to like a kindergartner's artist. You know how many hours that probably took to make? How disrespectful to those Twitter people, you know who you are, who said that looks like a kindergartner made it. Even the Disney World one, like, those things take hours. How just disrespectful to the artist. So
well said, Wizard. I completely agree with you. And it's one thing to be like, yeah, you know what? This art isn't for me. I don't like this art, but there's a way to do it in a respectful way. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to insult the artist. It's also a cultural thing. Maybe respect the culture a little bit. And again, that doesn't mean that you have to love the art. You don't have to love the art, but maybe not mock it and disrespect it like that. I just feel like that's, I don't know, man. I didn't see the tweets that you're talking about, but I think that it was like, it's a weird attack on that. Like, if you don't like the art, that's fine, but you don't have to like, go overboard with it and insult the artist like that. It's
now,
too much.
George and Chuck and Slimer, maybe you guys did the Disney World version of the murals. Which ones do you prefer? Like, do you like the placement? Like, do you like the subtle version, or do you like the Disney
So
World
I'm actually with you. I like how it's placed kind of like as a panel. It's very subtle, but it still gives a statement of what they're trying to say. It's not that I dislike the one done at Walt Disney World, but I feel like it's a little bit too much in one place. I think maybe if they would have stretched it out throughout the queue, like you see a little bit here, a little bit there, it flows nicely rather than just have one big bulk like right in one spot. But that's just me. As I said, it's not horrible, but I mean, if I had to pick and choose, I like this style a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. What say you, Sean? What do you think about what do you think about the mural and just compared to Florida's version and from what you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, before I saw the Florida one, I was not super impressed. I think in photos it didn't look great, and I wasn't as negative as others were, but I definitely thought that didn't look great. In person, I was absolutely blown away. I don't know if it was my expectations were lowered, but in person, I thought it looked absolutely amazing. Nothing about it looked out of place. If I wasn't a chronically online like Diz Twitter adult, I would never have thought anything about it other than looking amazing. So this one doesn't look incredible to me in person either, or I mean in photos either. But it just goes back to what I said earlier, and I'm not trying to like prove my own point, but it just goes back to like judging these things that are meant to be looked at in person by like a general once a year or twice a year theme park guest is not even remotely the same as like some guy in his basement in the middle of Iowa, like judging this mural via photo that they've never seen before in person, and they're not the target audience for the mural in the first place. So yeah, I mean, all that being said, I don't really have a strong opinion one way or the other. It doesn't look amazing to me, but I don't, know the history behind it. I don't know the artistry behind it, and I haven't seen it in person, which is the number one test. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, well said. Mr. Webba, what are your thoughts on it, brother?
So actually, I haven't looked at the mural at the one at Walt Disney World, so I'm not really concerned about the mural. I mean, I've always liked murals at the Disney parks. I've always thought they look awesome. What throws me off more here is not the mural. My attention is looking at the fence. The fence isn't bad, but I'm just thrown off with the transition, I guess you could say, from like the white kind of garden fence to now like this more kind of like restaurant type of like metal pole type of fence. Not that it's bad, but it's just like once you go under like the bridge, then it goes from like the white garden fence to now this fence, and for me it kind of throws me off.
Now I think keep going.
Oh no, so like the design, like it's fine. It's just I wish it was just consistent all the way through up to like the queue indoors.
Yeah. Now I think what they're trying to like evoke there is like the white fence is like you're kind of in the backyard garden, and then you go under the train track. Now you're getting like towards the actual business itself, so it's like more city, not city. Like I don't know, it's like more you're getting close to the entrance or like the building. I guess I think that's what they're trying to.
I agree with you, and that's exactly what I was going to say. That you're in the backyard, and then as you walk under the bridge, you're transitioning to Bourbon Street. So now you're on, now you're in what we call, common New Orleans, which is why the fencing matches what you would see if you go to New Orleans. And, with regard to the mural, my batteries are low. With regard to the mural, this is in perfect lockstep with what you would see if you went to New Orleans. So for those who haven't gone, let me go ahead and do this. So I did a simple Google search here. I'm going to throw up some pictures of murals in New Orleans.
With the receipts.
You got to have the receipts, right? So check out. Do you guys see this?
I don't.
There we go.
Now I do.
Yep. So here's just I just Googled New Orleans murals, and you can see they have an entire it's like a mosaic of the different murals that you can find down there. And they range from everything from lifelike to abstract, everything. They have panoramic ones, they have vertical ones. So show me where the murals that they have at the Walt Disney World one and the Disneyland one look any different than the cultural murals you're going to find in New Orleans itself. Like this is what you would see if you go to New Orleans.
Right.
Because these are in New Orleans.
Right. And people say, well, yeah, that's great. But, they didn't have this kind of art back then. But
they sure did.
They sure did. And I'm going to show you right now. William H. Johnson. A lot of these paintings that he did, if you want to Google it, are not contemporary pieces. This is like from the 30s, somewhere from the 40s, but they're pretty old. They're in and around that time that this ride is based. So again, this is very stylized. It looks very similar to what we see on Tiana's, right? So yeah, to Slimer's point, 100%. So
we also have to take into consideration too, I believe that they're still working on the Tiana series for Disney Plus. which is going to showcase the events after the film, but before the attraction. So again, we don't even really know what kind of like art style and kind of thing that's going to be, you know, implemented into the series as well. So
Right, exactly.
The murals are here, obviously. Let me see if I can get out of the sun there. But this is something that we just saw in the construction report that you have hopefully watched already. But when we were here before, only those two on the far right were up. But they've since installed the rest of the murals there, and it looks really, really nice. It's not nearly as overt as the ones that you find at Magic Kingdom, where it was like the entire wall. This is
I disagree with that because there are overt murals in New Orleans.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Subtle, a little more. I'm not sure what the word is I'm looking for, but it's not as overt as the other one was. I didn't mind it so much, but I know a lot of other folks did.
Real quick,
so hopefully they're happy.
So Slimer, to your point though, right? Like, what if someone were to say, yeah, but I'm not comparing it to New Orleans. I'm just comparing. I'm just looking at with what I'm seeing. You know, like.
Well, that's fair. I mean, like, art is subjective, right? So I think people have a right to not like something, absolutely. But I think that, like what Slimer was saying, they do have those kind of like, you know, like ceiling to floor kind of murals out there in New Orleans. So it's out there, you know, it's not unusual to see that. But yeah, if someone just doesn't like it and it's not their cup of tea, that's fine, you know?
Well, no, right. I mean that, but what I mean too is like, if someone like, so like the murals in New Orleans, you know, maybe someone doesn't know about it or doesn't even care to even want to know about it, right? Because they'll look at this and probably, and I'm not saying they will, but somebody could look at it and be like, what the hell is that?
Well, I mean, you can not like it. That's not a problem. Nobody's saying you have to like this thing, but you can't say that it's not authentic.
Well, yeah, that too. And also, Webba, I think the only people that are really going to get worked up over this are people that are really diehard Disney people. The normies aren't analyzing it.
Honestly, I feel like most people are just going to continue on along that line and they'll probably notice at the corner of their eye and then just keep on, and maybe not even acknowledge it. Like, they'll subconsciously see it and they'll just keep on walking. They won't be like, oh my God.
I bring this up not because that's my problem, but I like to bring up maybe other potential points of view someone might have to a certain point, right? So that's one reason why I brought it up.
Yeah, no,
don't lie, but we know you're just like, what the fuck is this thing?
What? I really like murals. I think they're really cool. So it doesn't bother me at all.
But let me give you guys another point of view. Let's say that you came from Louisiana, or let's say you know, culturally that's what you've been exposed to for your entire life. And this is your first time to Disney World, or you know, it's your first time being back since Tiana's Bayou Adventure opened, and you see a mural and you go, wow, that's a really high level of attention to detail that they actually incorporated that cultural aspect of NOLA into this ride. Because that's what I would say. I mean, like, if you're putting that level of attention into it, then it shows that you have passion in recreating whatever it is that you liked about New Orleans and bringing it to a Disney park. And that's the positive side. I feel like just again, go back to that Bricky video. You know, the people see obstacles where there's opportunity, and the negative lens that Sean was discussing a little bit earlier. It's too overt, and you just got to kind of like put it to the side, you know.
I'm glad you brought that up, Slimer, because you could also take that same aspect like World Showcase at Epcot. You know, you go into the various different countries and people could say, okay, you know, this looks like this in, you know, Morocco, or this looks like this in China, this looks like this in Norway, and not really think nothing of it. But for people who, you know, have been to those countries, they can go into any one of them and say, oh yeah, I remember going to this specific area in Norway or Japan or Canada. And it's like the architectural style of it is very spot on to what I really seen in that particular country. So people who are greenhorn to those things, they can just kind of say, okay, yeah, that's cool, you know, but someone actually coming from that culture or coming from that place, they can say, yeah, wow, that's really paying attention to detail, which that's what Disney is very keen on doing. They throw in these details, whether or not you notice them or not, whether or not they make sense to an individual or not, it strikes a conversation. And Disney has always done that since the beginning.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
With that, they planted or created a new little path here.
And-
It used
And
to
that
be,
little path that he's talking about with the brickwork and the stonework, absolutely beautiful. I love this.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I like this right here, right? Because remember how I was just kind of complaining about like the oddness from the white fence to this fence?
Mm-hmm.
But this shot right here, I really liked the green with like the light pole and like the grass and the kind of the concrete right there and the tree. I think that looks really nice.
Can I
Yeah.
just say something really quick? How
Sure.
unique of a bunch we are. 6 grown men doing a recording talking about fences and bricks.
I know, right? I know. It's amazing. Actually, it reminds me of a funny story, real quick. Not to digress too far. I used to work at a mortgage company, right? And these offices, right? They like you on your birthday, they would like the night before they were like decorate your cubicle because the next day is your birthday and shit like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next day it was my birthday and I get to work and I'm putting all my stuff down and this dude, my coworker, who is absolutely freaking hilarious, he comes up to me and he goes, is it your birthday? And I turned to him and I said, oh no, can't a guy just decorate his cube? And he was cracking up. He was like, oh, that's hilarious.
that this, when you came up to Splash Mountain right here, it was just all one big space. There was,
And this is awesome too. I love the ironwork and stuff, the kind of archway with the screens for Lightning Lane. I think that's great. And they really operationally tightened this up because this used to Wizard, right? It would like spill out into like the walkways.
You don't know which line you're in. You're Lightning Lane. The people would be in the sand line, like, "Where's the scanner?" And then it's open. It'll be
It
crazy.
does look very breathable. It does look like it's open. So hopefully, it does help operational wise. Yeah, because when it was Splash Mountain, it was very congested. Indeed.
Yeah, and again, like what I like is that they took what was there previously, reconfigured it to make sure that it was separate out of the main pathway, but you still had enough room for designated lanes. And I love that. That was a very good job on their part.
Yeah, and I do like the color scheme. I mean, if you would have pitched this idea to me, we're gonna paint it yellow, I would have been like, oh, really, yellow? It looks good though. It looks really good because it's not like a pure yellow. It's like that weathered look. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I actually really dig it. I like it a lot.
And again, it looks even more based on the pictures. I don't know about in real life, but it looks even more like toned down yellow than the Magic Kingdom version. Is that true, George? Like, is this based on the photo? It looks like it's more even toned down yellow than what's
I
over
think
there.
it's the same color.
Okay.
Is it?
Maybe the way the sun's on it. I was like,
I mean,
I think it
is
might be a
the
little
color,
more
but is it
weathered.
just me that it looked more brighter?
Yeah, I think
Oh.
this is more weathered, but it's
Yeah.
the same color. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, same color, but it's more weathered.
Yeah, that's what Wizard was saying. So you were saying that was like this one looks more weathered, Wizard, like kind of toned
Yeah,
down.
and I like it. I like this version. Well, the kind of it's not like not like in your face.
Well,
It's just kind of
And again, it just kind of comes
Subtle.
down to the finer details that I just feel like this particular attraction was made for Disneyland's version of Splash.
yeah.
Well, George, going off that. So for all 5 other dudes in this panel right here, do you think the Disneyland Park version of Tiana's is going to be the superior version of the 2?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think
I'm
so.
not saying that
'Cause
Walt
look, we
Disney
got
World
that.
wasn't
We got
good.
that extra tunnel scene. I think it'll be cool.
Not saying that Walt Disney World isn't any good. Slimer and I went on it.
Right.
We absolutely loved it. It is much better in person than just watching a video on YouTube for sure. But I feel like the in-depth of what Disneyland's version of Splash Mountain was, that you kind of move through the scenes rather than watch the scenes, I think it will give like an extra layer of depth with how they're going to utilize the animatronics and the lighting and everything.
So you actually, George, let me get this straight. So you actually waited to ride it before judging it? Fucking pixie duster, bro.
I know.
And it's crazy because then in
there
just
was no
6,
sort of
Sorry, Wizard.
saying in like 6 days we'll figure out, we'll like see what it looks like, and then everyone will have to meet Tiana, Bayou, and Adventure in Disneyland on Twitter, because then there'll be a whole bunch of craziness. But then we'll still get to see what it looks like. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
Can I be a bit of a devil's advocate to Webba's question?
Sure.
I'm a little torn on the question, and I absolutely agree with you guys and do think that the ride was designed with Disneyland's in mind. And obviously it fits 100 times better into New Orleans, into, that whole area, both lands really, better than Disney World's ever will. But with that being said, I do think that the two boat system that Disney World has and how little you get wet with your socks and underwear in Disney World's version, where you get sprayed in the face and stuff, which is great. Then you're not walking around with soggy underwear and soggy socks all day. Whereas Disneyland just kind of drenches you over the side. That has nothing to do with
in that middle
overlay
drop.
itself.
Oh my
I
god!
I will definitely agree with you with Sean. Definitely, like Disney World log system. Yeah, like it's much more comfortable to actually like get out of, especially for me.
It's
that
like
has
actual
bad
seats.
knees, so it's like.
But that has nothing to do with the Tiana overlay. As far as the overlay itself, I definitely think our version will be way better. I don't think there's any question to that. But in terms of like which is more like,
comfortable,
enjoyable, I still think Disney World is going to have that edge. But it'll be exciting to see and test that out. And maybe in a couple months when we've all ridden both, or whenever, we can have this discussion again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indication of where you're supposed to go. They just had basic ropes and stanchions, and a lot of guests were confused about what you were supposed to do. This queue has been much more defined now. When you come down this path, when you enter over there, you wind your way down, and it's very obvious that this is standby right here. It's very obvious that you're going to stay to the left or standby, and then if you're lightning lane or single rider, perhaps you'll enter, on these two right ones, and then you can see they've got the lightning lane scanners in place, ready to go. Looks good. What do you guys think of the metal railings here instead of continuing the wooden? I think that's necessary, but I'm not sure why. I feel like they had to make that choice there. I would have to put some thought into that, but my guess is that as you approach, there's a lot more traffic right here, and they want to make sure that everything is, durable and ready for a lot of guests, because this is going to be, very busy space. Oh, look at that. They've created, okay, so a long time ago, you guys may recall, a long time ago, we saw them put up some sheathing, and they had torn down this wall, and I said, well, I wonder what they're doing back there. That's some kind of show element, I assume, because why would they tear that down and put up sheathing? And so there you go. They've set a scene. Let me see if I can't.
And they got a little hidden Mickey right there.
Yeah.
Situation here. You got a door there, a red door, it's a light pole. You got a little Mickey going on. That's great.
Awesome.
They've got that right there, and they've got another one right next door. More gardening happening. This looks really cool. This will be on your right just as you leave the loading area.
I will say,
guess we'll find that on their right.
And I'm for sure this version will have it as well. Going through the queue of Tiana's was absolutely amazing. The finer details that they added to the queue and everything, that you can kind of like find like little Easter eggs and what have you, because there were moments in the queue for Splash Mountain that they were just completely just blank dull.
Yeah, empty, totally empty rooms.
Yeah.
Ours, because we have a smaller mountain, we're not going to have, I don't think, those long gaps with the show scenes or what have you. But,
yeah, and that's a good point, OG, because that is what partially made our Splash Mountain so much worse, is that it was a shorter overall story. But I think it could be what makes our Tiana better in the sense of the story, because it's a shorter story to tell, as we've seen with the Walt Disney World version. So it might fit seamlessly, here at the Disneyland one.
Yeah.
Well, and Sean, too, to your point, right? Because I know there was like a lot of kind of complaints about Walt Disney World's version, and Slimer and George, you guys been on it, but I know a lot of the complaints were about like how a lot of the audio animatronics, they were all a lot more grouped together, and they're very far apart. Whereas do you think with ours, because ours is more condensed, we will have a lot more action in terms of audio animatronics per se?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that could definitely be the case. And I really only had two negatives with when I wrote it, and that was one of them, Webba, which could be fixed. The other negative being that the story didn't really make a whole lot of sense unless you wrote it like 3 or 4 times. Once I had read it like the third or fourth time, it made complete sense. But the first ride through doesn't make any sense. But I mean, that's the story's not going to change any. So the more that this ride exists, like 10 years down the road, people are going to completely understand the story because everyone, even the very casual Disney fans, will have ridden it multiple times on either coast. So yeah, that's not a problem long term. And short term, I think Webba could be right that this could fix that issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, well said.
Right, and then they'll make their way up that first lift hill. And look at this. I've moved down a little bit, and you can see that there's cast in there right now. You can see the launch. Are they testing boats right now? I can't tell. But you can see the launch right there. This is ridiculously exciting. I can't believe we're finally
And
here.
I'm with you.
He's
I'm with
so
you.
happy.
He is. He loves it. He loves it. Wizard, I'm with you, man. I love the music in this area.
Oh my god, I'm getting a big smile on my face just thinking about it. I'm just getting more and more excited. I'm like, oh, I'm just bopping my head. This is probably again one of those places, like a new place now. So I didn't see myself doing this before, but one of the places in Disneyland, I can just find myself sitting on a bench and people watching because the music in the background, sitting there watching people in Bayou country while the music playing in the background, eating some Hungry Bear barbecue jamboree. Oh, that sounds just a great day right there.
And I think people are going to enjoy it just by being over in that area again because it's been blocked off for so long. I think just the ambiance and the atmosphere that it's just, people are going to say, hey, you know what? At least I can walk over here now again without being blocked by a wall.
That's true.
Right.
It's been closed for how long, man? And it looks really cool out here. It fits. It fits really well in this land. I'm going to probably repeat myself because I'm winging this, but I really like how this works in. It's actually the queue. I could say this at least. The exteriors of this building, especially the queue area, especially the area where we're at now, is an improvement over what we had here at Splash Mountain. Can't speak to how it's going to look inside the attraction or the mountain itself. A lot of folks don't like what they did, with the landscaping they did on the mountain itself. I personally like it. This, I feel like it's just an absolute hit. I really love this. And there's more. We can actually see the entrance, the main entrance, obviously.
And see,
so,
it looks. Go ahead, Wizard.
So this would be one of my only complaints, only because it's I do feel like it should say the attraction name. Like it's that Splash, even if it says main entrance, I feel like some sort of like Tiana's Bayou Adventure or Tiana's Foods, like or something.
Yes.
Instead of just main entrance. People are hopefully not that stupid, but as in like thinking main entrance and they just kind of go through the gate there. But I don't think that would happen. But I do feel like it should say like Tiana's Foods or something, even if it still says main entrance, just to like tell you like what you're going into.
Wizard.
I don't know, Wizard. I think people would come off the ride saying, "Oh man, you guys got to ride main entrance." Like that is like an option ride.
Dude, Wizard, bro. Have you worked with customers, dude? They're idiots.
Yes, yes, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like like main entrance, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, something. I do like this awning though. That's on top there. I don't think that wasn't there for Splash Mountain. I think that's a new thing. But I think it overall, again, especially with the more weathered yellow, looks pretty good. Besides the sign, besides a lack of additional sign, I like it a lot.
Yeah, me too, Wizard. I like it. I feel like if I didn't know better, right? If I wasn't like a total Disney nerd into all this stuff and following everything, and I was just to go to this thing first time and not knowing the history behind it, this feels like it was made this way. Like it was purpose built as this attraction. It doesn't feel like a overlay to me at all. You know what I'm saying? Like this was built from the ground up, and that's good.
The entrance, the main entrance, obviously. So stand by. We'll make the same left turn into the building there as we did before for Splash Mountain. You can't. There's signage up there. There's some theming elements inside that room. That room looks absolutely more developed than the old room did before. It was pretty empty. That particular section was pretty empty, lacking in theming almost entirely. Let's go on. Oh my gosh.
I mean,
loving
this looks really good. I know they took away some of these big pine trees. They replaced them with these magnolia trees, I think you guys were saying.
These aren't, but yeah.
Okay.
So
I
they're
liked
southeastern trees.
Okay. But
Ooh,
this
hey,
looks
Slammer's a resident botanist. I like it.
I'm telling you.
I like that little brick path right on the ground there. I was like, this area just looks really nice.
It does. It's different than before, but it's more open, more airy, but it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
Really
I think
exactly.
for me, it looks. What I love so much about it is it looks more like realistic and lived in, and like
Mhm.
Right. Yes.
retail vibey than Splash Mountain, which I love the look of Splash Mountain for sure, and that obviously has so much nostalgia for people. But it had that kind of like fake cartoony look that like Toontown has, which is totally fine. There's nothing against it, but it doesn't look as impressive and real as this. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, this
me
is
too.
giving me Epcot vibes.
Absolutely, Epcot vibe, spot on. Yeah, 100%.
planters down here. Oh wow,
That's as close as you're gonna
That
get, OG,
looks
to
so
Epcot. I'm
good.
sorry.
You know?
Whoa.
that looks so good. So right after you get to the main entrance, you come down this path. Guess we'll come around here. Probably left side is standby, right side is lightning lane.
It's amazing too with the removal of the trees or the swapping out of the trees, whatever they did. You can really see how beautiful this building is. You never really
This is
saw
pretty
it.
covered before.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
And
Is that
And I will say that in the same kind of style of how it has like that outdoor kind of nature kind of feel to it. I do hope Disney takes that same kind of cue for the Cars area for Magic Kingdom, where we get a lot of outdoor kind of like rustic trees, waterways. I hope they utilize that same kind of mentality, because that's the one thing that Disneyland does very well over Walt Disney World, and it is the landscaping with the brickwork and the trees and everything.
I think
Yeah, and
you
if,
guys,
and if you're not giving Disney enough credit. You're not paying attention to the smaller details. If you think they're just going to go in there and do a low effort job at trying to make it as realistic and tying it into the concept of the American frontier as much as possible, you got to give them a little bit more credit than that. For the for the people that don't think they're not going to do that, or that don't think they're just incapable of doing it.
well, we have the same CEO, right, that we had when we got the first Cars Land in DCA, right? So I have no reason. And look, Bob Iger, for all his faults, he was able to manage the business end of it and the creative end of it well enough that we got a fantastic Cars Land in DCA. I have no reason to believe he can't manage it the same way now. So I have a lot of confidence in that Cars area at Magic Kingdom. I think it's going to turn out absolutely stunning. I think I'm going to go balls to the wall, George. I think it's going to look better than the concept art. A lot better.
I agree with you.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I honestly, this view right here is really giving me Grizzly River Run vibes. That building that you
Yes.
And honestly, I love that, because that's the one thing that like Disney, both coasts need way more of, is that like Pacific Northwest, like Wilderness Lodge vibe, because it's such a beautiful aesthetic, and it's just like there's so much possibilities with it. And so obviously the only place you have that on the East Coast is Wilderness Lodge, and maybe the new Cars Land, to George's point. So to have this on the West Coast alongside Grizzly Peak Airfield on the in DCA, this could be really awesome. And my son absolutely agrees. He's really pumped right now.
He's like, heck yeah.
Such a cutie.
This is almost identical to how they had it before, but it looks great. You guys might remember this is where they had Brer Bear and Brer Fox, that little statue right here. That's gone, obviously.
Yeah, it just
really
looks better. Like
It honestly does. It honestly does. And this little shack or whatever this is next to it, that has where you used to be able to buy merch like towels and get the photo stuff. When he swings over to there, it building looks incredible. They didn't even touch it. Really, I mean, they repainted it and they removed some trees, and it looks like a whole new structure. It's absolutely, it's crazy.
You can see that they have updated the bricks there, or the stone wall.
If for whatever reason the world collapses and we
there
got to take
for
refuge
these
somewhere
various-
else, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, like, you guys should just meet right here. All right, we'll just meet all here.
Absolutely.
Entertainments that are going to be available here. to the imaginary guests here in Bayou Country. They have done nothing here. I mean, it's been rethemed, repainted.
Yeah.
Nobody's questioning the lonesome
This used to be,
stroller.
Right.
Right.
And they were going to, before
Is someone missing their child? Can someone call the?
this whole thing happened, they were going to turn this into a place to get a snack, some sort of in-themed snack. I don't know if that's going to be the case today, but it looks like all they've done here is repainting that. I don't think this is going to have any functionality, although I do see those are pictures. They're all upside down though.
It's still Splash Mountain stuff, actually.
And they're Splash Mountain. There's
Yeah.
a rabbit right there. So these are still Splash Mountain photos.
Wow.
I don't know if they're going to do that again. If they're going to do the same thing they did before. They weren't doing it for the longest time. They weren't. So here's the exit.
Oh, looks good,
You see
man.
Tiana's tunnel up there.
So OG, real quick, right here.
I got you.
So I'm really curious because I always did single rider on Splash Mountain, and you would go through the back entrance. So I'm wondering if they will bring that back and still just utilize the back entrance for Tiana's. And the reason why I asked that, and maybe it's like, yeah, well, no shit, it's the same ride system, is because at Disneyland, whenever they tend to do something with the attraction, they tend to take away the single rider line for however long, and then they bring it back again in some other way. Space Mountain is notorious for that. So I'm very curious as to whether or not they'll keep single rider for Splash Mountain, and if they do, if they'll still keep it here at the back exit.
Well, that front thing, the green thing, it had three signs. So I assume one's standby, one's light and lane, and one's probably for single rider getting its own dedicated permanent line, I'd presume.
Yeah, good point. Good observation, Wizard.
I think that too, Wizard, but it wasn't an electronic sign, if I am not mistaken. So they could, just bring that later.
Yeah,
Not have lightning lane to start, or not have single rider. I'm sorry, to start.
yeah, but it
Yeah,
seems like
bring it in
it's
later,
a
whatever
proper
they want.
place for us. So that's good because like Matterhorn has a nice dedicated permanent line. So I'm hopefully they make a nice permanent one because this is a good. Like Matterhorn, this is a good ride to single rider because you get on usually pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, and sorry, Sean, real quick, because I want to point to what you were saying before is not only is single rider good for this attraction because you get on pretty quick, but also most of the time, at least in my experience, they put you in the back and you don't have to worry about getting soaked on that second drop in the back.
Yeah, exactly. Because they usually it's like party of 4 or whatever, party of 5, and there's usually one seat open, and you're all the way in the back, which is my favorite spot. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cozy. It's cozy back there.
Well, don't tell George that he likes being in the splash zone.
What'd you say, Sean?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Sean. What'd you say?
I was just going to add on a third advantage to single riding these two, Matterhorn and Splash, is that with any other ride, if you're not at the parks by yourself and you still use single ride, you're breaking up on the ride. So like Radiator Springs Racers, you're not riding together. Well, you're not really riding together either on these. I mean, I know you're like, especially with Splash, you're getting a little tight, but either way, you're not really able to talk to that person, especially at Disneyland. You're
exactly
like that. So it's not a bad one to single ride, even if you're with a group anyways.
Yeah,
that's true. That's a good point. Unless me and George are on this ride, I get to like whisper in his ear behind him.
George likes that.
Oh yeah,
you whisper in his ear before the drop because
I mean, pretty much. I wish they
don't know what
had
liquid
the
is happening
same
there.
like the original ride vehicles for the Matterhorn because I'd prefer to be with a stranger.
All right. Hey, yo, OG. I'd be like, George, Soak City.
and then the drop comes, and then you're like, George, is that Splash Mountain water or is that different water?
George's picture at the very end of the ride, like when he goes to look at his picture, he's gonna be like,
absolutely. All that chest hair out,
All right.
Almost a month in advance. Really, really nice.
By the way, I like how Chris keeps popping up.
Right. Our first look at the
Provost
sign
Park
for
Pass.
Lewis's Critter Club.
Yeah, I like this sign actually in the name because it's definitely Tiana themed, right? With Lewis, but it also pays homage to Critter Country with the name. it's a nice little blending of both.
But I do agree. I do agree with Wizard on the fact that I wish they had this kind of sign by for the entranceway, like right as you're entering through, like the kind of like that barn area thing. Like, still keep this sign there, but it would have been nice than just say like main entrance, because for people that may not understand what that is, they could just look at it and say, well, main entrance to what? Like,
Yeah, exactly. So great video from Dave. Dave is the GOAT when it comes to this stuff. He's amazing. Fresh baked. Shout out to Dave. I will be linking his video at the end of this video, so make sure you check out the video. And obviously, like, if you watch us, you definitely watch Dave. But if by chance you live under a rock and you have not checked out Dave from Fresh Baked, make sure you check him out and subscribe to him. Absolutely. Real quick before we go, we do have a little bit of breaking news today, Wizard, because we have you on. You're the Universal guy. Epic Universe might be opening in May of 2025, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yes. Oh, look at that. Wall Street Journal article came out. Very interesting article. It's, I guess, what we can look for some on Thursday or Saturday. I think we'll hopefully have some more details on when Epic Universe can open. But it'll be that'd be hilarious. The one weekend that opens will be my wedding weekend, if true. That'd be hilarious.
There you go.
It'd be expensive, is what it's going to be.
Vegas, California to Florida.
There it is. There it is. We got to plan like a big group Epic Universe trip. You know what I'm saying? That'd be fun.
Yes, please. I'll
Absolutely.
book through our travel agent Sean at, I wish I remember the name, but link below.
I wish I remember the name. I wish I remember the name. That's an odd travel company.
now, Sean. I mean, you want to share with? I mean, you can plug your travel agency absolutely right now if you'd like. I mean, I can link it down below and everything, and just kind of tell them what you do and how they can get a hold of you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm an independent contractor, so it's all done through myself. My agency is called Winds in the East, but I handle everything, so it's all just through my name. So yeah, I book Disney Universal trips, and the thing that people don't understand is that a travel agent doesn't cost extra money, because Disney and Universal and basically every major company like hotels, cruises, they already have a set percentage that are going to go to travel agents, whether you book through them or not. And that travel agent is also like Costco or, Getaway Today, Undercover Tourist, whatever third party you're talking about. So you're paying that fee whether you book through a travel agent or not. So the travel agent is 100% free, and they're oftentimes going to give you discounts that either the public doesn't know about yet or that you don't, you can't access. So yeah, hit me up anytime, guys. You can just hit me up on Twitter in the DMs, or I have an email as well. But yeah, if you want to throw that in the bottom, OG. But yeah, I appreciate that, Wizard. And as we're wrapping up, you guys can find me on, every social media, ranking George's chest hairs, Twitter, Instagram. I'm about to make a TikTok for that as well. So get me up on there.
Absolutely. So Sean, if you could just DM me your email, and I will add that in the description as well, so they can both ways.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Wizard, where can everybody find you on social media?
Well, you can find me on YouTube at Theme Park Wizard, that on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. And then you can find me on Halloween. I'm going to dress up as George the Italiano as my costume, so you can go check that out.
Get that chest hair out.
I can save some off for you. You can just kind of, you can just like,
because I have like none, so I need some chest hairs there. But I got to get started. I have 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're trying to get this guy Wizard to 6K on YouTube, so everyone go subscribe there if you haven't already.
Yes, please.
Absolutely. Check Wizard out. Does great theme park content, Disney, a lot of Universal, a lot of scoops. He does a lot of permit stuff. So amazing work. Wizard has been, Wizard, I think you and I have been doing it about the same amount of time, huh? Around.
Yeah, I know, right? We started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. Here we are. So make sure you sub to him on Theme Park Wizard. Mr. Webba, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Where can they find your web slingy ass on social media, sir?
Yes, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. Mr. Webba at Webslinger760.
It only makes sense if he's on Threads. The Spider-Man himself's got to be on Threads.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Threads.
There he is. And Slimer, last but certainly not least, it's good to have you back on, brother. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, hey, thanks for inviting me back. I had a really good time talking about this with y'all. Sean, we'll be talking. That was my wife. We'll be talking about those Epic Universe tickets for sure, my friend, once that comes up. But you guys can find me on X at SlimeSquare84.
There it is, everybody. Make sure you follow all these gents on their social medias.
Oh, and lastly,
George, yeah.
Oh,
George, where can they find you and your?
Sean booked my ticket to Universal Orlando, so he did an amazing job. So book him. And also, we loved Slimers. That's Slimers Ghostbusters house. Took Sean through it 2 times.
All right,
so
cool.
Good job,
Slimer, you had a great house. And yeah, we got Wizard upgraded for basically the same price. Actually, I think it might have even been a discount to an annual pass. So this guy Wizard is now a Universal Orlando annual pass holder, despite living in Cali.
There he is. You're official, man. You're official.
When are you coming to Florida again?
December 13th, in just under 2 months.
Okay, all right. Hit me up, man.
Oh, I sure will.
Absolutely. And Tiana, where can everybody find your chest hair on social media?
You can find both of us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram and Threads under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And just for you ladies out there, just remember one thing. Once you go Italian, it's like riding a stallion while wearing a gold medallion.
George, are you out there making those threads?
It is. Well, thank you everybody for watching this episode of OG55. And until the next time.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.